Welcome to JM Youth Forum, a place where we shape the next generation, a place where we discuss issues like relationships, career and business advice, education and religious matters, and much, much more. So sit back, watch, and be informed. Your host is Laban Bethi.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in. My name is Brian Moses Okothoano and this is JM Studios and Youth Talk Forum. We are in season 3 and we want to talk about the topic relationship, yani mahusiano kwa Kiswahili. It's an interesting topic. I know that it's going to be informative, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to educate somebody. And we have our panelists in studio already. I know they're going to introduce themselves and they're going to impact us in the whole topic. Now, maybe starting from the lady, may you introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, viewers. My name is Margaret Mudoni, and I'm glad to be back on studio to share a lot about relationships. We hope it's going to be a healthy engagement.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Margaret, for coming back. Thank you for always finding time to be with us in the studio. Maybe the gentleman to this yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Pitana, as usual. And I'm so happy to be here again for another season, for season 3. So it's a wonderful moment every time we come to share. I know somebody's always getting something that always adds something to their lives. So even for this show and so many other shows that are coming, I know it will be such a wonderful time, an informative sessions for anybody who will be keen. Yeah.
And Isaac and Maggie, you've been a common face in this studio. You've been a common face in our screens, and we appreciate your efforts, towards ensuring that what we are doing in this studio is reaching a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we have to thank you for that.
Thank you.
And of course, we've been in a break from season 2. We've been doing season 1. We can't live without, looking at the feedback, what people are saying, and just try to see the quality of what we are doing. Is there some feedback that maybe you can tell us, maybe from you, Maggie, now that you've been here from season 1 to season 2?
Well, thank you. There is one feedback that I have received, especially from a mother. And she was like, I wish you guys could be reaching the numerous youth across the country who are suffering from several kinds of challenges like hopelessness, relationships, and such kind. She was like, I wish you could be reaching them out.
Maybe Isaac, you have...
Yeah, I've received a comment, and it's a good feedback from a friend. And not just a friend, there are so many people, but at least we've been able to talk one-on-one with that friend of mine. And he said, we're doing a good job, and I wish that we could reach out to more young people, because I know this show, it's directed mostly to young people. So it's really helping, especially in our society today, because we are touching on issues that are really affecting our society in our current world. Yeah.
And so in JM Talks Youth Forum, that is, we are digging the problem. Here we talk, we try to look at a solution, and try to educate our youth, and just to ensure that, their life runs in a smooth way. And so I know that this topic, relationship, is going to be a topic that is going to be loved by many. I know there's going to be a topic that is going to teach a lot of people.
Sure.
And maybe just to do some ground setting from Madam Maggie, what is your understanding of the word relationship? What are we really going to look at?
Relationship basically means a connection between individuals or groups. A connection. And a relationship can also mean a link. And this link is there because there is something that is holding it. Holding it. For example, needs, especially needs, common goals, shared goals, shared values, interests and desires. That is what makes the relationship.
Apart from the links and connection, maybe Isaac, you have something to add on?
I think she said it all. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
That it's just a matter of people coming together, things connected, how we are connected, how we are related with one another. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And the good thing about relationship is that you always find it everywhere. And I would say I simplify it and say relationship is life. Without relationship, there is no life.
Yeah.
So you'll find it everywhere. In all dimensions you'll find relationship. Yeah.
And so talking about all these links, associations, and you talk of life, very crucial thing. What are these types of relationship? Like, how can people relate? How do we form these links? Maybe from you, Isaac.
I will pick something from what she said, that we relate to people, we relate to one another based on one interest. Sometimes we find ourselves in a relationship that we never planned for it. So it's a matter of interest. And I will just give down probably, there are so many types of relationship, but I'll try to categorize them on the interest.
Yeah.
Why do you come together? Or why are you connected to me? Why are we connected today? The reason why we are here together is because we have a common interest. So I will just try to categorize and say I'll categorize probably into 4 categories of relationship. Then under each main category, there are other relationships, or there are sub-relationships within the main one. And the first one I will call it is it's a economical relationship, where the interest is economic. At the end of the day, I'll get something economic, probably finance or money. And under that you will find relationship like an employer-employee. You'll find a relationship like customer, supplier. You'll find colleagues relationship. So in that business relationship, so that is economic. The main reason why you come in together is for economic. Then you find there is another one you call a social one. That's where under that you'll find there is family. And in the family you find there is a child-parent relationship. You'll find there a relationship sibling. You find relatives relationship. You also find couples, that is husband-wife relationship. So that is, and there are so many others. I'm not exhausting all. You also find is a religious relationship. And the first relationship under religious relationship, the first one is your relationship and your maker, you and your maker. That is my relationship with my God. And there is also a relationship with my spiritual authorities. Both, I know all religions have this. We have imams in Muslims and other elders or leaders in the Muslim religion, even as well as Christians and the Hindus and everywhere. So there is also a relationship between the believers themselves, and there is also a relationship between self. I will also categorize it in the spiritual, because we believe for us that man is spirit. There is a relationship with yourself, so it's very key. And there is also another relationship, I call it political, political relationship. Your interest you'll find you're in the same political party, not because we love one another, but it's only because we share same views. You'll find, I will also bring in a bit of demographic relationship, where you find yourself in the same, you share same interest, or you're in the same community. We are related in that mini Mkamba ama mini. It's also a relationship. We are the same age. It's also a part of relationship. You'll find it under relationship. We are in the same race. So there are so many ways we can define a relationship, but in this case, I'll just define it on the interest. We share the same interest. And that's why we find ourselves in the that common umbrella or the common interest. Yeah.
And so maybe, Mrs. Maggie, if you have something to add on what Isaac has said.
Okay.
The types of relationships.
He has said almost everything about relationships. There are so many ways of categorizing relationships. He has talked about social, I was talking about family, romantic relationships. He has said everything.
They fall in all these categories.
Yeah, they fall in all that. And the bottom line is, in a relationship, there is a give and take. And also, I would want to add, there are some relationships you don't determine to be or not to be in. That is family relationships. We don't determine whether to be or not to be. We find ourselves in those relationships. And they are eternal until people die. Then again, when we get into an employment or a company, we find ourselves in that environment, and we have to relate and associate with the people we find there at different levels, different communities, people with different backgrounds, different temperaments, different needs and goals and all that. So we just have to, so we are in those relationships, not by choice, but because we are in that environment. And there are those relationships which we decide, I'm going to get into this relationship. For example, romantic or this other relationship between both man and woman, that one is intentional. And another one, when it comes to business relationships, you find that an individual decides, I'm going to team up with such and such person, and we form a partnership or a group because we have shared interest, we want to make money, and maybe we can draw some strength from one another. So those are things that we decide.
And all these types of relationships that are mentioned, they know that they have to be built, they have to be created from somewhere. I know you've said that there's some that you don't intend, rather you don't choose that I want to fall in this kind of relationship, but it just comes naturally. But even the ones that you don't choose to belong in, you have to build them, you have to kind of nurture them. And so maybe from you, Maggie, how do you nurture a relationship? How do you build a strong relationship for that?
Okay, one, for one to be able to build on a relationship, they should be in a position to appreciate its value. If I don't understand the value of the relationship, I will not even start building a strong relationship. And that goes to, again, the person understanding his desires, his goals, his visions, especially the relationship that we are intentional about. Yeah, because because you find what you are dreaming about, what you are so passionate about. When you meet somebody who is speaking the same thing or who is in the same arena, you automatically begin to be drawn to such a person. So you find the goals, the desires, the visions, the passions of the individual, they determine a lot the kind of relationships that we are going to get. In business, it is because of what the business people are looking for, the market they are getting into, the product they are dealing with. That is the one that determines which people to get related to or which companies to relate to. So we build relationships because they will support our visions and our goals. So it's therefore, I think, dangerous for somebody to be visionless, to be objectiveless, and goalless, if there's such a word in English, because they will be landing into maybe non-essential relationships. So that because of that knowledge, then one begins to treasure that relationship and to nurture it.
And Madam Maggie, still on you, maybe for example, let's say a political relationship. How do I know the value of a political relationship?
Okay, I think politics is about bargaining power, right? Is it
Yeah,
true?
sure. Yeah.
Bear with me, but I think politics is about
true.
bargaining power.
Yeah.
And that's why you find, especially in Kenyan politics, today Isaac is contesting against Brian, and they are not seeing eye to eye, but in the next season, they are together. Why? It is about identifying where I can get bargaining power. I can get political power to achieve my goal. And my goal is to get a parliamentary seat, a governor, or even being connected with these politicians.
Isaac, your view, how do we build relationships? How do you strengthen relationships?
I think I'll just build on what she said. The most important bit is knowledge. It's the most important foundation of any relationship. Knowing why you get into a relationship, especially now when the one that you have to make a choice to get into. She categorizes them into two. There are relationships that you don't intend to. You find yourself, you did not choose your mom, you did not choose your dad. So you find yourself in that. But basically, in all relationship, whether it's by choice or it's by default, all of them, what is needed is knowledge. One, knowledge is because even if you're my brother today, I need to know how to treat you.
Yeah.
I need to know how to better myself for your sake. I need to know, to learn more about you. Just to maintain that relationship, knowledge is very key. So it's the most important bit in any relationship. The number two, communication. I know that is when you're already in a relationship. It is one pillar that's really very important in any relationship. That you cannot be in any relationship without communication.
Yeah.
And communication is just a way of passing information. It's a two-way traffic way. Like you have to communicate and I communicate back. You talk, I talk. And the communication can be verbal, can be non-verbal. There are so many ways to communicate, to pass your ideas. That communication itself, it's very important. Then we also have the aspect of trust. Trust. And especially now when you talk of business, I have to trust you. I cannot commit my money or my time or anything to just somebody that you doubt. This guy, you need to be confident that when I give or I commit something to you, I'm sure that I'll get it back in the way I intended to get it. Come, I expected it to be multiplied in a certain measure, then I need to get it in that way because I trust you. And trust is gained on a foundation of you test. Trust, I always say trust is not given. Trust is earned. You don't give trust because you just not meet with that stranger out there and give them your phone. I'll be coming back in 1 hour's time. Charge it for me. No, you cannot do that. I must have tested you, seen your honesty in so many other things so that I can trust you with my money or with my phone. So honest also is a pillar in that. So I think there is also in relationship, when you talk of relationship, to sustain a relationship, we are human. And we must accept that at some point you'll find yourself hurting one another or going against the will of the other party, there is aspect of forgiveness. It must be there to sustain any relationship, because at any given time you'll always find you offend your brother, or you offend your sister, you offend your boss, you offend even if you are an employer, you offend even your employees. Your mother can offend a child, a child can offend a father or a parent. So there is the aspect of forgiveness, bearing with one another, accepting somebody's mistake, and that will also cover it in the respect, where you are able to accept somebody's view. It's not because I'm your boss, it's not that all my ideas are supreme or are above you or on. So there is need to have that. I can respect your views. When you talk, I respect your ideas. I'm able to support. So I think those are some of the key pillars that can build a relationship.
Strong relationship.
Yeah.
And so, how do I know that, maybe I have a relationship, a religious relationship, or maybe an economic relationship? How do I know that my relationship is healthy or is working out?
How do you know that your relationship is healthy?
Yeah.
One thing that should be always in any relationship is you need to have peace. Peace of mind. When you have peace within yourself, having peace does not mean things are okay. Yeah. I always say, when I'm talking to my teams, I always meet several young people. I always tell them it's not the absence of peace that would say that God is not present. Okay, let me put it this way. That whenever there is no peace, it's not an indicator that God is not there. There are places where they are very calm, it's very calm, but also God is not there. Very calm, things are working. It's not every good thing that is godly. So peace of mind, it's having that hope. Even if things are not working right now, I know that there is a way that leads to some hope tomorrow. Business is not working today, but there is that peace, inner peace within myself, that in next 2 months or even 1 year, this business will peak and it will be given some good profits. So, but without that peace itself, it's very key. It's very key in any relationship, even in marriage. It's not always when things are working out. I know, Mom, you've been in marriage for some time, and that can tell. I know she can explain. At times things are not okay at all, are not working, but you're still there because you know there is something that ties you, and you have a lot of peace. In as much as there are storms all over, but there is peace. So peace is very key. The inner peace. Yeah.
Maybe, Mom, you have anything to say?
I think a healthy relationship is one that is building. Doesn't mean for me, it is building, not pulling me down.
Sure.
In that, instead, because that is the essence of any relationship, to give.
Sure.
To give. And the relationship should be symbiotic. Is it symbiotic? Whereby the two entities are receiving from one another. So when a relationship is actually causing sleepless nights, fears, as you were saying, whether it's business or at workplace, it's causing emotional torment. It's not healthy.
Sure.
This is coming from the relationship, not from the events of life. And this comes about again when there is absence of honesty, trust, not knowing how to handle conflicts because they will arise, relationship whereby will make a relationship there be happiness or peace, as you were saying.
And so, Mom, how do you know that, as much as there's problems. I've heard Isaac saying that it's not absence of conflict
or problem. You can say peace or problem.
It's not absence of problems, or conflict that is an indicator that you will have peace, something of sort.
No, I say.
Can you put it well?
Yeah, let me put it. No, it's a bit hard when you try it. It looks like a tongue twister. Yeah, it's not absence of problem or peace. That indicates that God is there. It's in a spiritual realms or spiritual.
How can you put it in terms of peace of mind? It's not
peace of
absence
mind. It's not absence of peace. That will say will indicate that that God is not there.
Okay, Mom. How do you, sometimes life is throwing a lot of curveball at you, and you wonder, now, is this relationship healthy? Is this thing working out? And, there's this part where, Isaac is saying there's no absence of
peace.
Whatever thing.
He's not getting it.
But how do you know that, now, this one indicates that my relationship is not healthy? This one indicates that, I just need to wait, things will be okay. How do you know?
When it's causing sleepless nights and anxiety, whether it's business related or social. Yeah, when it's causing sleepless nights and because of what is happening from the person, what is being caused by the person, by the party, is causing sleepless nights, emotional pain. And it doesn't mean that in relationships, people don't offend one another and real bad. It does happen.
So at what point do I know that now this is unhealthy?
It's when somebody does not say, does not accept that I'm wrong on this, and it is continuous. At a point I can feel like, all I know that I'm not wrong, I am right, and I can stand my ground in a humble way. But if I'm always the one who is right, then this is not a healthy relationship. Even in business, as he said, we are not know-it-all. Even managers are not know-it-all. That's why they need the subordinate staff to give them ideas and opinion. That's why we have meetings where people sit down, they agree and disagree, and they contribute until they come to a common agreement. But in a relationship where one person is not yielding, that's not healthy.
You should run.
If it is, there are some you can run away from. There are some you just have to be wise and lie low, detached but not completely. For example, if it's a family, you can't run away from your family.
Yeah, sure.
You just become a fool for the sake. But with time, your wisdom will show. But if it's in employment, again, I think you just pull on. Because you have continued to show, to front your ideas and your opinion, and your boss or your boss, or immediate supervisor looks down on you. So you let them have their way and you have your peace. If things go wrong, they are the one, the blame stops on them. But if it's a business relationship, again, especially where you can retrieve, it's okay.
But now, when it reaches a point where you say you have to lie down, does it really obey the fact that you say a healthy relationship should be one that is building you? Is there a building factor here when now you decide that, for example, let's say the employee-employer relationship, when my supervisor says that it's this way, I have to lie down. Does it really obey the fact that a healthy relationship, as you said, should, be a one that is kind of building you in some way? Does that really kill the fact that that relationship is not building you anymore?
You are just growing emotion. I think there is also an area of growth because you are learning how to manage situations and living with all kinds of people. One, you need the money, you need the salary, all right? And maybe you look for a way, and another time just to talk to that person when they are not angry, when they are not so full of themselves. Yeah, but you need the money.
Yeah.
And but if you can't stomach it, you can look for another job, but you don't move out until you get another one.
I can also add something. Again, when it comes to relationship, not all relationships are permanent. There are seasonal relationships where we are together for a certain goal or for a certain season, and when that season is over, I need to walk out. For example, if you're a student, you're in school for 4 years or 3 years or whatever number of years, and after that you cannot relate anymore in that level of student, probably you can relate later, but as workmates or even business partners, but at that level of student, being student, it's no more. You're out of school, so you cannot relate as students anymore. So when that level changes, even when it comes to employment, there are those people who are made it in their mind that I'm going to work for 5 years or 2 years, and after that my relationship is over with my employer. We can meet in other forums as business partners, but it's no longer that relationship we used to have before. So there are times when relationships change. So when you going back to the question that you had asked about, when do you know that the relationship is healthy? There are times you will find, probably for couples, you will find there are problems that are caused from external sources. It's not from us. At that moment, we can still keep going. Number two, there are problems that are caused from within us, either party or both of us. And that comes back now to the bit I talked about knowledge. Knowledge is not just an item or an ingredient that you begin with and leave it there. It's something that you keep on growing. Growing your knowledge on how to handle yourself better as a I know you've been married. I know I'll use your case because you're here for some years.
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years, yeah. I like that, 10 years. Wow. So 10 years. How you handled your husband in first year is not how you handle him today.
Oh, very, very different.
It's totally different. You keep on growing. And growth came out of, sometimes out of mistakes you did or he did. And you were able to learn that person better. So at that moment, the problem came to help you grow. It was not there to separate you. So if you are very quick to run away, you can run away when you're supposed to learn.
When you're supposed to stay.
Yeah, when you're supposed to stay and learn and grow. So it's to understand, where am I going and why is this challenge coming? It's coming to help us grow. It's coming to help us grow and become better version of myself, because I still believe I'm not the best version of myself. I'm still growing. So as you, with that understanding, you'll keep moving on. Or now when you're talking of relationship that we have to, it's a choice. There are goals that I want to get connected to this person, or I want to go to this church because of this spiritual. Even when you go back to Bible, when Jesus was calling his disciples, he said, leave what you're doing, I will make you fishers of something. They were promised something. So they will keep going in as much as long as they have not become what they were promised. Then they still have a goal. It's a vision. It's a vision for them. In fact, there's a time they got, I think in Mark, I think 11, and they asked Jesus, Mark, I think 11, and they asked Jesus, we left our things, bwana. Meacha kazi yetu na tukakufuata. Hakuna kitu inafanyika. Watu wanakuja wanapona. Wanaekelewa mikono ama they just get healing, they get miracles. But we're here. But Jesus reminded them that no one leaves anything for my sake who will not get it down here 100-fold and in heaven time to come. So that alone tells you there are times when things are not working out right. And you may feel like, hey, did I make the right choice? Am I in the right business? Am I right in the right partnership? Am I? And those are that's normal. But as long as you still have your goal, it's just a matter of time. So keep going. Yeah.
And so maybe just winding up, tuseme kumeumana, you know, the relationship is broken. I want to start with you, Maggie, because I've heard so many times he's referring to you. You've been here for a long time. Maybe for a case of marriage or something, tuseme kumeumana, you know, the relationship is broken. How do you get back? How do you rebuild a broken relationship for that case?
Okay. For you to be able to rebuild the relationship, one, you must know the purpose first. I think the purpose of this thing called marriage. You're talking about marriage relationship? I think so. The purpose. Two, if you know, and you must know it, you must regard it highly to want to restore it. Now, if it's that important to you, then it behoves you to, especially for us believers, I'm not talking about anybody, because some of us believers or children of God, there are milestones we are able to achieve by the grace of God, by the mercies of God. If it were not for Him, we would have been swallowed. Are you getting me? So I want to say it in the context of a believer, that we have milestones that we'll be achieving by the grace of God. And that means then we will be giving God time as we learn. As Isaac was saying, there's a lot of learning to do, and it's not a quick one. Like what I learned, what I was last year is not what I am today.
Sure.
I'm telling you the truth. The other day I thought I learned I am supposed to do something else that I have not been doing in marriage. Are you getting me? So that learning, and then knowing the purpose and the will of God concerning marriage for a believer. But for the people who are out there without God, we can see they are battling one another. I would encourage somebody to retreat.
And so maybe, how do we win this trust? Okay, for example, you've been chased away from your community. You have some weird behavior, or your partner in business is not trusting you anymore. How do you win back this trust? Maybe if you have a point there.
Wow, I'm not very sure about business again, because
I
you know,
the
in
main
business,
thing here-
in business, once trust is lost, you know, in business is about making money. I think there is no second chance.
According to you.
According to me.
That's from your point of view. It's like, is there a way you can build, you know, this trust back once it's lost?
Okay, let me say it this way. No, she was
Just
handling.
any kind of relationship. Like
Yeah, just general. I think there's a statement I made before, and I said there are seasonal relationships. So it's not every relationship that should be retrieved or should be rebuilt. It's not every relationship. There is a time when a relationship is over.
Yeah.
Probably even it could be business. The season is over. And now we probably will get some time and talk about times and season and understand it well. But for this case, let's just leave it at that point, that they are seasonal relationships. And when that season is over, I will not go back to that relationship. And now that's why she brings in the point of value. Is it worthy to go back into the relationship? Because again, it is a time is a retrogressive way. It's like you are going back instead of progressing. Going to the same relationship, it means it's a negative impact in your life. It's not adding up. It's not adding value to yourself. So you need to understand the value of going to that relationship. So some are to be done away. It's time to go. But now if you first do an analysis and say for sure this is a worthy relationship that I need to go back. Is an aspect I talked about. Forgiveness is very key. Accepting the mistake. Well, if it's from your side, if I did the mistake, you own the mistake. I did the mistake. Go down, apologize. That I want to come back. And then I said trust is not given. Trust is earned. Restoring trust is not easy. And building trust also is not easy. It takes time, it takes years, it takes resources to build trust on somebody. So I know there are times when somebody is given, probably an employee who has messed up, at times they are given a second chance, told now we're going to put you on probation to watch whether you have changed, whether you mean what you say, because you come and probably with a letter that I've changed and I want to do this and reconcile and to do. So with that, you're given time to check whether you have changed. Time, people are given a second chance in some places. Now, when it comes to real business, many times, as Mom said, second chances are rare. They are, but sometimes and most times are not there. Where if I gave you 100,000, for example, to supply me with a certain product or service, and you never brought it, that might mean that is the end of. So restoring that might be tricky, and it takes God. I can say it takes God. If now you genuinely have changed, unless now there are people who just camouflage and they can try even register a different company to still do the same business, and they still maneuver and they do their way and get the same tender or they get the same relationship, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Okay, and so just before we finish, maybe your last words to somebody who has been following this show and you know is still waiting to follow more of our episodes on relationship topic. From Isaac, maybe.
Yeah, I just want to tell anybody who is listening to us right now, there's so much that is yet to come about relationship. Now we just handle the general, the basic understanding of relationship, but we are going to narrow down to every single relationship, that we handle the challenges that people get in relationships, how to handle them. We know we have some experience, some by experience, some by knowledge and learning. So I know we'll be able to help somebody who is struggling with something in relationship. So stay tuned. This is your show. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac, and once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're here.
Welcome.
Maybe Ms. Maggie, your last word to our viewer this evening.
Okay, what we have had today is just a starter. So please join in the next time. Look forward for the next episodes. We plan to build one another so that we will not have problems with relationships of whatever kind, from family to business.
I like you call it a starter. You know, in a hotel, when you're given a starter, it's something that cannot satisfy your need. You know?
Sure.
So something that is going to satisfy your need is still coming. You'll agree to that.
Yeah, sure.
And also, you'll agree that relationship is an important topic.
Very true.
And we've talked of connection, we've talked of links, and the most of it all, we've talked of life, and you say that relationship is life. All right, and we will stop it there for now. My name is Brian Moses Zokotowano, and I was your host this evening, and I'm glad that you've been keeping us company all through, and even at the point where we're finishing this show. Our numbers is 0798950046. If you have any question or you have any topic that you want us to handle on your behalf, we are here to answer your questions. We are here to solve issues, and we are here to inform you and educate you. Thank you for tuning into JM Studios. We are working towards everything that you need. We are working towards the quality of our videos, and everything is okay. Just stay tuned. We are here to answer your calls. My name is Brian Moses. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes. See, you're also doing or behaving a certain way. It is out of information. You dress like you think. You talk like you think. Out of what is inside here, the fullness within you, that's what the mouth speaks of.